Good afternoon and very good days to all. Today, I would like to present the topic on the evaluation of the environmental policy in Malaysia. This topic will cover policy making, policy evaluation, pollution index, and policy improvement. Let's start our discussion with policy making. How the environmental policy is made by the government. The key players in environmental protections are people in all over the world. It is the responsibility of each citizen to protect the environment of the country. The awareness about the pollutions, climate change, and etc. among the public is the first step to the environmental policy making development. Nowadays, people are exposed to risk factors in their workplace, home, or everywhere by the air pollution, radiation, occupational risk, climate change, chemical, and etc. The demand for the high quality of life among the citizens will lead to the improvement of healthier environment without pollutions. In order to protect the environment, the government must have the right environmental policy to be implemented. The environment policy needs to promote the production and conservation of natural environment and attainment of the sustainable development in Malaysia. As a citizen, we have the right to buy the least environmental harmful product to stop environmental degradation and to vote the party which is more concerned about the environmental protection policy without losing the economic development. The government of Malaysia, in principle, is committed to the environmental policy for the economic development. The commitment appears in 3rd Malaysian Plan and continue in 5th Malaysian Plans, 6th Malaysian Plan, and the National Policy on Environment 2002. Besides that, Malaysia also committed to implement the Sustainable Development Plan through the Local Agenda 21, Millennium Development Goals MDG, and Sustainable Development Goal SDG program. And today I would like to discuss the National Policy on Environment and other related policy. The Malaysia government has approved the National Policy on Environment on 2nd October 2002. The policy NPE aims to continue economic, social, and cultural progress and enhancement of quality of life of Malaysians through environmentally sound and sustainable development. The objective of the policy are to achieve a clean, safe, healthy, and productive environment for present and future generations. Conservation, the country's unique and diverse cultural and natural heritage with effective participations by all sectors of society. Sustainable lifestyle and patterns of consumption and production. The green strategies under NPE are education and awareness, effective management of natural resources and the environment, integrated development planning and implementation, prevention and control of pollution and environmental degradation, strengthening administrative and institutional mechanism, proactive approach to regional and global environmental issues, and formulation and implementation of action plan. Next, the second topic of policies index. Table 1 shows principal statistics of forestry and lodging in Malaysia from 1990 until 2013. Table 2 shows the annual maximum and minimum air pollutant index for selected stations from 1998 until 2014. Meanwhile, Table 3 shows emission of pollutant to the atmosphere by type and sources from 1998 until 2014. Table 4 shows the number of river basins monitored by category from 1998 until 2014. And Table 5 shows status of river water quality based on main pollutant from 1998 until 2014. Based on the data, the environmental pollution in Malaysia can be controlled and managed. However, the government needs a strong policy to be implemented. Next, let's review on the pollution evaluation in Malaysia. What is NPE strange? There are other rules, regulation and procedure related to the environmental protection, such as Environmental Acts, Mineral Development Acts, National Forestry Policy, National Agriculture Policy, National Mineral Policy, National Policy on Biological Diversity, National Coastal Zone Management Policy, and etc. are support the NPE. Generally, all the rules and regulations are established to prevent and control of the pollution and enhancement of the environment. This policy enforced to the people or any entity that disobey the provision or any regulation related to this policy. The implementation of the policy obtained full support from many government agencies such as Ministry, Natural Resources and Environment, Ministry of Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs, Ministry of Energy, Green Technology and Water, Department of Irrigation and Drainage, Department of Environment, Department of Forestry, and many more. The coordination between the agencies will strengthen the policy enforcement to minimize the environmental degradation. However, there are some weaknesses in the environmental policy. As we know, the policy implementation must be reviewed from time to time. The effectiveness, efficiency, and the equity of policy implementation must be measured to ensure the policy are still relevant at that time. Moreover, the less publicity for the rural citizen about the environmental policy and sustainable program by any agency will lead to low awareness on environmental degradation activities among them. The government should include sustainable development program and environmental policy knowledge at the school level to educate students and their parents. Besides that, the environmental policy should be consistent with other countries' environmental policy to prevent the cross-border pollution. The cooperation among the neighborhood countries to enforce the environmental policy will protect environmental pollution such as air pollution and water pollution. The environmental criminal must be punished under serious crime according to environment law in order to educate the citizen. Now, we will go to the last subtopic, which is policy improvement. In order to protect our government, the policy and the strategy should focus on overall living environment. Government intend to incorporate environmental policy to greater extent than hitherto in the integrated policy for the living environment so as to increase support and involvement in environmental policy. Protection and conservation. The policy must focus on protection and conservation of natural resources rather than merely on corrective measures. Public participation. The public must involve in drafting the policy and legislation related to the environment issues. Elimination of ambiguity in policy. Emphasis on elimination of ambiguities in law and regulation to avoid a legal gridlock and protracted litigation. Role and mandates. All ministry and other departments related to environment protection must have a clear role and mandates with sufficient trained staff and resources to implement and monitor their responsibility effectively and efficiently under the environmental policy and regulations. Policy enforcement activity, all the federal, state and local government enforcement activity must be well coordinated and effectively raise the overall level of compliance with environmental regulations. As a conclusion, the Malaysian national policy and other related policy on environment are still relevant to be continued. However, the policy should be reviewed from time to time to ensure the policy can be implemented in our country. We must encourage citizens to be more appreciate the nature for our future generations. All the parties and stakeholders must be committed to protect, preserve and conserve our natural environment. Besides that, the education program must concentrate to educate people on environmental issues among the citizens. Due to some weaknesses, all the related policy on environment might have to be amended in order to achieve our nation's aspirations of becoming a green country. That's all for today on topic evaluation of environmental policy. Thank you.